Okay, let's get started today. Present. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about animal evolution. La evolución de animales. So how do species change over time? Do you guys know cómo cambian los animales por el tiempo? So evolution. So they change, they transform, se transforman. Fossils. That's how we know. With the bones, we know how they change. Sabemos que como cambian los animales con los huesos. Geologic change. So the world has been, the continents move, they keep moving. Los continentes se mueven. They're still moving, todos están moviendo. And we're gonna talk about Charles Darwin in a bit, okay? So a man that's proved how they changed, or just wrote a book about it. So can you see Africa and see how it goes in between like Mexico, North America, and South America? So it was all together at one point. Todo el mundo estaba junto en un punto hace muchos millones de años. África conectaba en México, los Estados Unidos y Sudamérica. Okay. So evolution, process where descendants of species differ from their ancestors. Basically, a species changing over many generations. A species group of organisms that can produce and have fertile offspring. So the dinosaurs, did you guys know that dinosaurs are the birds now? Los dinosaurios se hicieron en pájaros? What? So we know that they used to be, dinosaurs had feathers because of fossils. We're gonna learn that next time. Vamos a aprender que los dinosaurios tenían alas, plumas, y sabemos por los huesos. Okay, vamos a hablar de eso después, otro día. So creatures evolved. Creatures evolved. So what is that? A tiger, a lion. What is that?
Tiger.
It's actually both. It's a lion plus a tiger. It's called a liger. And so when a tiger and a lion get together, they can have a baby. So un león y un tigre pueden tener babies. And it's called a liger. And it's not fertile. So that animal cannot have babies anymore. Ese animal no puede tener babies. It's infertile. Sterile. What is that? A horse, a donkey. What is that? What do you guys think? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Un burro o un caballo?
Both.
Both. It is both. It's a donkey and a horse. It's when a horse and a donkey, they do it. And it's called a mule, una mula. Cuando un caballo y un burro se juntan. Okay. What is that? A zebra, a donkey, a horse. What is that? What do you think it's
Zebra on the horse.
a zebra and a horse? Let me see what it says. It's actually a donkey. A donkey and a zebra. Un burro y una cebra. And it's called a Debra. A Debra. Now, what is that? What mixture is that?
No, that's a zebra on the horse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a zebra and a horse. Una cebra y un caballo, yeah. So a zebra and a horse. and it's called a zorse. What is that? That looks like a regular bear, huh? Ese parece un oso regular.
Yeah.
But it's a grizzly bear and a polar bear. So it's called a growlar. A grizzly and a polar bear. Un oso polar y un oso de las montañas. It's like a chihuahua with another a Rottweiler or something like that. It's like, you know how dogs mix? It's the same thing, como los perros, igual. What is that? That looks like a regular llama. What is that? Let's see. It's a camel and a llama. Oh, so un camello y una llama. And it's called a cama. A cama. It looks regular to me. Parece regular. But it's not. What's that? Huh? What's that? What is it mixed with?
Sheep.
And what else?
I don't know.
A sheep. Yeah, y luego agarras. Yeah. So una cabra y una oveja. A sheep and a goat. Yeah. And a goat and a sheep, and it's called a geep. A geep. They mix the names together. Un geep. So look, that's how dogs came to be. Así se hicieron los perros. They started with wolves first. Empezaron con lobos. Okay? So they just kept breeding and breeding and breeding, or people bred them to depending what they wanted. So las personas los mezclaban hasta que agarraron lo que ellos querían. Okay? And, a wolf to a chihuahua. Chihuahuas come from wolves. Los chihuahuas vienen de los lobos. So this is how it was connected. So traces of organisms which once existed. It's through fossils. Okay? So así es como todo el mundo ha estado conectado antes. Here's the timeline if you want to take a look at that. There's we started with fishes, then they started going to the land, and dinosaurs, they started producing more bigger until the Jurassic era, Cretaceous era, and Tertiary. So mammals, look, mammals, and then eventually humans. Okay, so empezamos con animales de agua y después se salieron para fuera del agua y se hicieron dinosaurios y así, y mamíferos. Okay, so millions of years ago, there was an asteroid. Hubo ¿cómo se dice? Un asteroide, gracias. Gracias. And basically, that asteroid happened, espérame. Oh, that asteroid happened like around Mexico and South America. There's evidence. Hay evidencia de ese asteroide. So there's there's evidence right there. Like rocks, layers in the earth. Hay como tierra que está empalmada de ese asteroide. Okay, so explanation why different fossil layers have different animals. Oh, so this slide is saying that basically animals, the dinosaurs got extinct. Los dinosaurios fueron extintos por este meteorito. Okay. And over the thousands of years, the land has been moving for thousands of years. Por miles de años, la tierra se ha estado moviendo. And it's still moving. Todavía está moviendo. Like an inch, a couple centimeters, California is splitting off. California se está quebrando. Cada año, un poquito, cada año. Have you guys heard of the San Andreas Falls? Las fallas San Andreas? California is breaking because the lands are still moving. Las tierras todavía se están moviendo. There's more pictures. That's a picture of Pangea breaking. So así era como era antes. This is how they believe it's gonna look in a couple more years. 50 million to 200 million years from now. So in the future, everything's gonna keep moving and they think this is how it's gonna look. Así es como los científicos piensan que se van a mirar en unos 50 millones de años, la Tierra. All right, Charles Darwin. So Charles Darwin is an English geologist who sailed along South America while reading about uniformitarianism. Huh, that's a long word. He landed in Galapagos Islands and noticed similar species. Oops, hold on. Vary between the islands. So he just recorded this information. Él nomás hizo un libro de información de cómo los animales se cambian. He just recorded this. Okay, so he is the father of evolution. Saw finches of the Galapagos and noticed variations or differences. So he went to the islands and each island had different kind of birds. The same bird, but with differences. Él fue a unas islas, hizo estudios y había pájaros en cada isla, los mismos pájaros, nomás con diferentes picos. So there are many types of finches. There is with thick beaks. So each beak is useful for survival. Cada pico diferente del mismo pájaro es para sobrevivir mejor. So look, large beaks for grasping bills, for insect eaters, bug eaters, para los que comen insectos. Cactus eaters, los que comen nopales. Yeah, birds eat cactus. Or seed eaters, los que comen semillas nomás. So look at the beaks, they're thicker so they can crunch the seeds. Los picos están más anchos para que puedan quebrar las semillas. Okay, so that's where the Galapagos Islands are. Esas son donde están las islas. In South America. Every time mutation caused variations in beak shapes and sizes. Over time, mutation caused. So, on one island, there was only large seeds to eat. En una isla nomás habían semillas grandes para poder comer. So the ones with the little beak that couldn't get to that seed, they will die. And the ones with the big beak, they keep having babies. So los que tenían los picos chicos se morían y los grandes se sobrevivían y seguían reproduciendo. So eventually, all of them had this kind of beak. Also with the little seeds, semillas chicas. Even the ones with the big, they died out. The big beaks. Insects, pointy beaks. So para comer insectos, picos pontiagudos. So they can like get to the earth or the plants, looking for the insects. Para buscar los insectos en las plantas. Okay, so those are the same birds, but in real, you can see their beaks. Yes, this is period 2. All right, so here are the birds, and one species of finches eventually became many because over time their beaks became adapted to their environment's food. Okay, so one finch, one type of bird, it kept reproducing, and eventually the beak and little differences made it survive better. Okay, so un pájaro se convirtió en muchos diferencias porque para poder sobrevivir en otros lugares. Pero el mismo pájaro. So here's the seeds. Aquí están las semillas. So little seeds, insects, insectos, semillas chicas, medium, large, cactus. So yes, birds eat cactus. Los pájaros se comen también las plantas. Estos nopales. Okay, so finch beak shape. So again, large for large seeds. Cactus, nopales. How about vegetarian finch? Hay pájaros que nomás comen puras plantas. And woodpecker finch. Para agarrar insectos en los árboles. Woodpecker. There's the beaks. Same bird. Okay, small video. Short video. It's the same thing we talked about, just in video, okay?
And why are they so important to biologists? The study of finches led to the development of one of the most important scientific theories of all time. But how did this come about? In December 1831, a naturalist called Charles Darwin boarded the HMS Beagle bound on a surveying voyage to South America. Whilst the ship and crew carried out coastline surveys, Darwin was free to explore the islands en route. In 1835, the Beagle arrived at the Galapagos Islands near Ecuador. What Darwin found there surprised him greatly. As well as giant tortoises and marine iguanas, Darwin collected and preserved a variety of different songbirds called finches. Upon returning to the UK, he examined them together with ornithologist John Gould and made some fascinating discoveries. The scientists observed that the birds were all similar to a single type of finch found on mainland South America, suggesting that these mainland finches had originally colonized the island.
Each island had a different type of finches, but they're the same bird. El mismo pájaro, nomás cada isla tenía diferentes tipos de mismo pájaro.
However, the Galapagos finches were all slightly different from the original mainland species, and they were also different from each other. The finches on each island showed distinct variations in their overall size, beak shape, and claw size. These differences were attributed to the differing food sources available on the various islands of the Galapagos. Some of the birds had long, thin beaks and sharp claws suited to catching and eating insects, while others had large, powerful beaks suitable for cracking open nuts. Because of the distances between the islands, breeding between different species of finch was unlikely, and Darwin concluded that the finches must have evolved over time from the original mainland species to suit the conditions found on each individual island. In all, 13 of the birds brought back by Darwin were identified as being entirely new species. all similar to each other, but with definite variations from their common ancestor. Darwin proposed that the variations seen both within and between the finch species arose by chance. Variations which gave any individual a competitive advantage made them more likely to survive and therefore reproduce, outcompeting those with less advantageous characteristics. Darwin called this theory natural selection, and he published it in his book On the Origin of Species in 1859. Evolution by natural selection is now widely agreed to be the most accurate theory to explain the origin and diversity of all life on Earth.
So later on we're gonna talk about humans evolving. Many of you will not agree with it, but it's just the good information to know. Okay.
In this video, you have learned how the finches of the Galapagos Islands led to the development of the theory of evolution by natural selection. Is evolution of these birds still happening? See what you can find out.
Okay. So that was just a video of the same thing. Okay, so second part of the PowerPoint, segunda parte. Animal adaptations. Como los animales adaptan, like the finches, como los pájaros. Oh. So quick video, just so you can understand adaptation, okay? Video para poder entender adopción.
Every day, all around us, we can see examples of adaptations within our own species, within species of other animals, and within members of other kingdoms. Put simply, an adaptation is a feature of an organism that gives it some sort of benefit or advantage. They could help it build a shelter, find and hunt food, protect itself, or compete against others for mates, food, and resources. Adaptations can help it in a range of aspects relating to its survival. Adaptations can be categorized into three main groups: structural or physical, behavioral, and physiological. Let's now look at the differences between these groups by looking at some examples. Structural adaptations, also known as physical adaptations, are physical features of the body that assist in some way with survival or reproduction. Some obvious examples include having horns to defend against predators and to compete against others, having fins for aquatic animals who need to swim efficiently, and having armor to defend against predators. Having camouflage that helps you blend in with your environment is also a very useful adaptation to have.
So animals grow horns to protect themselves, crecen cuernos para protegerse, they have a thicker shell, like turtles, como tortugas se hacen la concha de atrás para poder protegerse. Depending on what they need, they will keep developing that even better. Dependiendo de lo que ocupan, van a seguir creciendo, desarrollando eso de los animales para poder sobrevivir mejor.
It can help you hide from predators who might be looking for a quick snack. It can also make your prey harder to see you, which allows you to get in close and get a sneak attack. A structural adaptation of a lot of plants is to have brightly coloured flowers, which attracts insects and assists with the pollination process. Behavioural adaptations are things that the organism does which gives it some sort of benefit, and for the most part these are innate behaviours, which means they are born with the ability and the drive to do them. Herding is a great example of a behavioural adaptation. Not only does it help you find food easier as a group, but it also helps you spot predators and raise the alarm. Socialization is another important behaviour that's observed in a lot of species. It allows behaviours to be taught to other members of the same species, it allows opportunities for relationships to develop, and it promotes cooperation. Setting a trap, like a spider spinning a web, is a great strategy to try and catch some food. Being the most intelligent invertebrate, the octopus is capable of mimicking other animals in order to get closer to its prey. Physiological adaptations are things that the organism's body does without necessarily having to consciously tell it to do so. For example, a distinctive feature of mammals is that the females produce milk, which is a nutrient-rich food source for their offspring. It doesn't choose to produce the milk, but it just does, and in doing so that's helping the survival of the next generation. Producing poison or venom is another example of a physiological adaptation. A snake or a stingray producing venom and being able to inject that into its prey will help it catch it. And a toad's body producing poison will help deter its predators. In order to summarise what we've covered today, have a look at this snail. I want you to think of a structural adaptation, a behavioural adaptation, and a physiological adaptation.
Okay, let's think about that. What is a structural or physical adaptation? Something in the body. What did the snail develop to protect itself? The shell, right?
Okay.
Se creció, ¿cómo se llama eso? Caparazón. La caparazón. Desarrollaron eso para protegerse. How about behavioral? Una acción que hace. How about it goes in to protect itself? No?
Here are some examples that you could have had.
Okay, so they did say the shell. They said the shell. Protection, protección. Eye stalks, better vision. So los ojos, they're coming out so they can move and they can look. A poder ver mejor. Behavioral, retracts into shell for protection. Courtship to attract mates. So it has like a little dance. I didn't know that. Hibernation, when it gets too cold, it just hibernates. Cuando se pone muy frío, se meten a la concha, al caparazón. So can produce sex cells from both genders. Okay, so, ¿cómo se llama esto? El animal. Baboso? Caracol. Okay. So the snail, the caracol, they're that you guys know that they're both male and female. El caracol son hombre y mujer juntos, los dos. They're both. So they're both man and female. So that's like a survival. Eso es para sobrevivir. Okay, so maybe because there's not a lot. So whenever they find one, they'll just be able to mate. Cuando se encuentran uno al otro, pueden juntarse. No importa cuál sea. Okay. So that is adaptations. Eso es adopción, adoptar. Okay, so let me press present. Okay, list and explain 3 cheetah adaptations. Tres cosas que el cheetah desarrolló.
It's fast.
They run fast. Why? ¿Por qué corren recio? Why do they run fast? Why do they run faster than
From predators.
from predators? Okay. Or they're the predator. So they can catch their food. Because cheetahs run faster than lions. Maybe so that they can catch like their food para poder alcanzar su comida. What else? How about their
Good vision. They got good vision.
good vision? Yep, they have great vision. So tienen la vista excelente. Maybe to protect themselves in the night, to hunt at night, para protegerse en la noche, para cazar en la noche. What else? How about their fur? Their camouflage it's camouflage. Su, ¿cómo se le llama el pelo? No sé cómo. The fur. So the fur is camouflage, it's camuflaje. Or like, look, it's almost similar to the grass. Es muy similar al zacate. Pelaje. Pelaje. I've never heard. Nunca oído eso. Pelaje. Thank you. Thank you, Caesar. I've never heard of that word. Pelaje. Es her pelo, pero. Okay. What about as a giraffe? Una jirafa.
They got a big neck to get food from trees.
Yep. They have a big neck. Un cuello largo para agarrar comida de los árboles. Very good. How about camel? Un camello. That
Big.
hump. What you gonna say?
Same thing.
Oh, same thing, yeah. So the hump is to store water, para guardar agua. Because they can go days without drinking water. Pueden ir días sin tomar agua. Okay, something extra. So camel fur. Thousands of visitors flock to Bikaner, India for the desert festival awaiting the camel races. Owners with sharp scissors transform their camels into breathing works of art by shaving their coats to make room for traditional Indian patterns. So like you know how guys be cutting their hair like that? They do the same thing. Se le cortan el pelaje. Look at that. Maybe that's where the barbers got the designs for people's heads. What about dogs? Look at this dog in the
Got a
snow.
lot of to adapt to the cold.
Yep. Mucho pelaje para el frío. Yeah. What about these birds? They live in the jungle. Pájaros que viven en la jungla. Maybe their color, el color. What about their beaks? Look at their beaks, los picos. So they can crush nuts para las semillas. All right, look at that. List the differences and explain how it is an adaptation. How did this camel turn into this one? Why? ¿Por qué se transformó?
To adapt to difference where you live.
Yep, to adapt. Para adoptar donde vive. Maybe this one lives in the cold. Maybe in the mountains. A lo mejor en las montañas en el frío. Two humps, more water, más agua than this one. This one might get too hot if it has too much fur. Se va a poner muy caliente este. What about these sea turtles? List the difference between any two and explain how it is an adaptation. So let's see. How about this one? What's that? I'm sorry? Go for it. Go for it. So look at this one in the bottom right corner. All these spikes, those picos, to protect itself. Look at the mouth, la boca. It can, so it can eat and it protects itself para protegerse. But this one doesn't have it, the sea turtle. La del mar no tiene. Why? But it does have flippers, so it can swim, para poder nadar. What about these little river ones? These ones are both water and land. pueden vivir en la agua y en la tierra. These are the little pet ones, the regular ones. Los que compras en la pet shop. All right, hawk. So hawks are faster than cheetahs. ¿Cómo se llama en español? No, es como más chico que un águila. Yeah. So these ones are faster than I believe they're faster than all animals. Believe. Pienso que son más rápido que otro animal en el mundo. All right. What are some defensive adaptations to help not be killed by these hunters? So what would a soldier do to protect itself? ¿Qué va a hacer un soldado para protegerse?
Camouflage.
Camouflage, yeah. Camuflaje. How about a scope? Scope to look from far away. And even that gun. The gun will help. If you kill first, you'll be protected, you know? Matas primero, es protegido. What about these fishes, colorful fishes? Look at the coral. The coral. So they're the same color, el mismo color. They're very bright colors. So they can camouflage, para camuflar, para esconderse. Okay, we're almost done. Ya me lo acabamos. What are some adaptations that will help an animal survive in the desert? So camels, the humps for the camels. How about lizards? They're tiny and they bury themselves. Cuando se escarban, las iguanas. Forest. How can an animal survive in the forest? How about monkeys? They can climb trees. They can get fruit from the trees. Los changos se pueden agarrar fruta de los árboles. Or run fast. Little tiny rabbits. You know? Los conejos se pueden esconder, correr rápido.
Control plus SLAs.
How about the savannah? So look at these zebras. They run fast and
Camouflage.
they camouflage. Yeah. They camouflage, esconden. Very good.
Control plus SLAs.
And that is it. My computer's trying to read to me. Okay, so I already posted the homework. Let me show you the homework. So ya puse la tarea. It's going to be due by the end of the school year. Se va a entregar hasta el fin del año. So you still have time because I know we have too much homework and a lot of you guys need to catch up. Muchos de ustedes tienen que alcanzar. Okay? So let me see. Hold on. I have a chat. Okay, so according to the graphic above, how do modern horses differ from their ancestor species? So remember, animals change, los animales cambian. So just write me full sentences, please. Oraciones completas, por favor. Tell me how they change. ¿Cómo cambian los animales? And this is what we've been talking about. Questions of what we talk about the finches, los pájaros. Very easy. And look, you guys gave me some answers too. Like the cheetah. Why is the cheetah fast running speed considered an adaptation? To hunt. So just give me full sentences, please, and you're good. All right, it's pretty easy homework. It's due to May 31st. I put it to the last day of May. and I'm gonna do attendance.